It's 6 minutes after 7. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. You're tuned in to Joy 99.7 FM. And on Tuesdays, every week, the geeks come to sit in the Joy FM studios and talk about technology. And we try to break things down to you, make it easy to assimilate, make it easy for you to understand. And today, we're talking about going cashless. So, when the World Health Organization released a statement on March 9th recommending that people turn to cashless transactions to fight the spread of COVID-19, a number of governments and retailers across the world took action. In China, thousands of banknotes were destroyed or disinfected to eliminate the spread of the virus. South Korea also followed suit, and in the US, the Federal Reserve had started storing banknotes that had come in from Asia before recirculating them back into the economy. Canadians, however, they took a different approach. Rumors were that some people put their banknotes into washing machines to rid them of the virus, and that's them taking advantage of the fact that their paper money is actually plastic. So yeah, they just put them in a washing machine and wash the COVID off it. And well, that takes money laundering to a whole new level, don't you think? Some retailers also ban the use of cash in their stores to keep their employees and their customers safe. And people were opting for contactless payments instead. Meanwhile, for those who were confined to their homes in lockdown, online shopping was their lifeline. So today, to join me to have this conversation is Sam he's a CEO and founder of Blue Space Africa, which is an enterprise fintech organization. We're going to be talking about going cashless. We'll also be joined by the duo, Michael and Winston, who may also have their own experiences. I've had my experience. I've tried to go cashless in Ghana, like as an individual, where I'm trying to keep very little cash on me. And I'll tell you, as the conversation goes on, some of my challenges when we get to the point where we're talking about disadvantages of going cashless in our economy. Anyway, welcome, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
How are you this evening?
I'm very well.
Excellent. You picked the right topic to talk about. Cashless.
I know, right? So, Sam, first off, tell us about yourself. Let people know who you are.
Thank you again for having me on the call. I'm a hardcore enthusiast when it comes to technology.
Right.
Ghanaian, born and raised here in Ghana, and went to school in the U.S. in Michigan, and studied computer science. Came back, and luckily for me, I was very, very fortunate to relocate sooner. You know, the year of return started this last year, but I came 10 years ago to survey the land and make sure that this is the fertile ground to do business. So I was fortunate to bring Dell and also EMC Corporation. They're leaders in information management and also information infrastructure, basically your data center technologies, your cybersecurity technology. So I brought them back and worked for about 4.5 years. And along the way, I saw the need to branch out into the financial tech space and basically started Blue Space with a team of believers out of the UAE and also here in Ghana. And we've been running it for the last 5 years, and things are looking quite positive. So that's a little bit about me. I'm Ga. I'm half Ga, half Krogo, so I speak Ga very well. Don't test me right now. I will give you some Bukom Bankuish kind of English this evening. But I've been back for 10 years now, nearly 10 years, and it's been fantastic. I love Ghana. I think Ghana is definitely redefining Africa, and I think it's good to be part of it.
Great. So, the conversation proper. Anyway, let me acknowledge the presence of Michael and Winston. Hi, guys.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Yeah, we're good.
Hey,
hi, how are you?
I'm good.
So Michael and Winston are members of the Geek Squad. They are in-house they're part of the team and they contribute to the conversation. So as time goes on, you'd learn their contribution very shortly. Yes. So
no problem.
First things first. You are coming from a system where cashless systems have been introduced and have been used for quite a while. It may not have been widespread, but it's quite prevalent, right, Sam?
Yes. So in America, for example, there's a need for regulatory and monetary policy, right? So typically, cash is heavily monitored and controlled by the central bank. So in the U.S., the Federal Reserve is very, very particular. So they want to track everything. They want to monitor what's happening. So the banking system is quite efficient. Obviously, we're light years ahead of the U.S., to be honest, when it comes to digital currencies. And yes, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. But they started monitoring the ecosystem way before we caught on to it, right? So the idea of using cash started dwindling about maybe 15 years ago, but it's now become mainstream. So it's, for any major tech, you have your hype cycles, right? You introduce it, the first 5 years, people are getting onto it, and then by the decade's time, it becomes slightly mainstream, and then if you give it another 5 years, it becomes a standard of doing things. So America, for example, has been moving in that cashless direction for a while. But obviously innovation has sort of stifled. So I would say about 60-70% of the economy is heavily cashless. And there is cash light, but they are heavily cashless in most of the transactions. Whereas we are moving towards a cash light, and what that means is you would have maybe 30% of the economy still cashless, and about 70% of the economy will be doing still cash transactions in most of the circles that you move around.
So now that you mentioned cashless and cash light, I'd like you to explain to us how a cashless system works.
Interesting. So this has been around for some time, by the way, right? So in the early 80s, 90s, or 70s even, we were doing barter trading, right? So if you have a bag of rice, I can give you something else in exchange for it, right? You swap value to be able to do a transaction, right? My grandfather had a lot of sheep and goats and stuff, and I remember you can swap that for land. Back in the days, if you own a car, you could swap a car for land, right?
It's actually still even happening now.
Yeah, so that's a cashless transaction right there. So that concept was using two different value points to transact, right? But as you know, the legal tender is still paper cash, and to move into a cashless society, you want to swap that paper cash with a digital cash, right? And that is the real definition of a cashless society in the context that we're talking, right? It's no longer barter trading. However, you can see that also evolving to the likes of your Bitcoin, your cryptos, right? So that's like your phase 2, where you're changing the actual value prop to something completely different than the legal tender, right? So the way the cashless society will work, like your typical mobile money economy, you're taking physical cash and you're swapping it with a digital currency or a digital value or stored value, but it's always connected to what they call your fiat cash, which is your legal tender, right? The reference to it is what they call digital cash. So if you take that out and you begin using gold or other coins, then your stored value now has to be mapped to the value of your coin. right?
Okay.
Now, until you do that, you haven't really evolved in your digital currency or your cashless agenda, right? So I think for us in Africa or in Ghana, the phase that we're moving into from cash to a cash light, we will be looking at eliminating the handling of paper cash,
Right.
a lot of it. Mm-hmm.
Great. So, in Ghana, for instance, where most
I can also translate in Ga if you want. So that
I think we'll have you do the subtitles. Yes, in an unusual. We'll do the Ga subtitles when we're done. I'll contract you to do that.
Okay.
So, in Ghana, for instance, where most of I think we started off with debit cards, where banks issue you your ATM card, but you can use it to shop or anywhere. But it caught on with a certain class of people, but we still didn't manage to get everyone on that bandwagon. Now that would have accelerated our movement towards a cashless society, no?
So that's actually a good observation, right? So the traditional or the incumbent financial system works on a stored account system, right? So you have what they call your general ledger that sits as your tally system to make sure that every account that has been opened, when somebody comes to put money into that account, they have a means of extracting that account, that money. And unfortunately for that system, your only way of extracting that value was a card system that will be mapped towards that account. So if you have 10,000 CDs, you in that account, let's call it account A, you create a card and link that card service. Because if you're in the public, you don't have any outlet where the banks can dish out money for you, except if you go to the branch. And obviously, the ATM came along to create a better way, more access to your cash for you. Right. But if you look at that, so the first thing, they were working in a distribution structure where the physical bank, and then you have to create access points to your physical money, right? So if you have 10 access points, that bank's accessibility is limited to the branches and the ATMs they have, right? But if you contrast that with your telco network, which had basically towers in every city, they had merchants everywhere. You can go to the store, you can buy credit, you can buy airtime. They basically realized that distribution network was way wider than the banking network. So if it's a stored value, how can we also create a similar ledger system and take people's money? Obviously, the taking of the money will go through the banking, but we can give it to people at multiple outlets other than the traditional branch. Right. So all of a sudden, the cost of opening a branch versus the cost of opening a merchant was night and day, right? So the telcos are like, hey, guys, we're cheaper in doing our business than they are. Let's go, guys. And they open up thousands and thousands of merchant shops. Your typical MTN has more than 60,000 merchants, whereas your biggest bank has close to about 500 branches. Wow. Like, it's a complete night and day, right? Now, the banking network is trying to catch up. So there's a concept called agency banking, which basically says I'll create a merchant network and allow those merchants to do a particular set of services, which traditionally you would have done at the branch. Again, they're trying to grow their footprint or the access network so that more people can participate in financial services. Do you get a difference? So I get that's it. Why the card system didn't go viral like how the mobile money has caught on so fast.
Great. Now, it's a good thing we just segued to mobile money, because that's the crux of the whole conversation. Mobile money is poised to take us to, or should I say, to draw us closer to a cashless economy, right?
Absolutely, but check this out though. You still need cash if you want to trade mobile money.
Exactly. Because then you have
still would touch Corona cash if you want to do mobile money.
Unless maybe you connect your bank account to your mobile money wallet, and then you can transfer the money from there.
But how do you get the money into the bank account?
I was just about to say yes. I just realized.
So it's actually quite hard to eliminate physical tender 100% out of the ecosystem. So in America or in other developed countries, outside of China, except China, cash is actually very, very hard to take away from, except if everybody adopts the entire wallet system as the predominant rail to do business.
Right.
So you basically, everybody gets a wallet, and you convert that wallet to become the mainstream transactional vehicle, right?
Yeah.
That means from that point onwards, there's no cash anymore. You're on a wallet platform, and you can now attach things and add value and grow that value henceforth without having to deal with physical cash anymore.
Okay, so with a system like that, then there would be no need for physical cash at all.
Because in your China equivalent, right?
Yeah.
Because now any new value I want to grow, let's say I started my business with 100 CDs, and all my future transactions are all happening in the digital sense.
Yeah.
I don't have to touch the physical cash anymore, because I know my merchants, the people I buy from or I sell to, or customers, and those that I buy from, I can transact with them digitally, right? Via my mobile wallet that I own. That becomes my authoritative engine for doing business. So your wallet may connect to some bank accounts, may connect to some mobile money accounts.
Michael, Winston, are you guys there?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Are you keeping up with the conversation?
Are you guys going to ask some hard questions? Because I'm not ready for hard. I've not had my cake dinner yet.
Oh, good. On the same page. We'll suffer together.
Yes.
Yeah, so Michael, Winston, you guys have anything?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Michael?
No, I mean, I'm actually looking at the numbers for mobile money transactions. As of 2015, was worth $29 billion.
Wow.
And that was 5 years ago.
So now it means that it's probably tripled, quadrupled.
It's a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
mobile money penetration is what? More, I think, have we reached 120? Sorry, not mobile money. Mobile phone penetration is now 120% or something. So there's more mobile phones here than people.
I've seen that. But that's interesting. So, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Moving to cash, I mean, we've heard this conversation. We've seen people, governments and people pushing for a cashless economy because it's going to reduce crime, it's going to be more efficient. But these are all everyone's speculations. From your point of view, what are the advantages or disadvantages? First, let's start with the advantages of moving into a cashless economy.
Typically, right? Yeah. Anytime you're heavily dependent on the physical tender. Before I go on, I think one of the gentlemen, is it Michael?
Yeah.
You were talking about the penetration, right?
Yeah.
Just last month, right? March, sorry. The mobile money space, because COVID was quite active, we look at almost $40 billion CDs was transacted in just the month of March alone. 40 billion.
Wow.
Okay, so
in 1 month, we've done more than.
The moment Uncle COVID, I actually came up with a word today. You know how you say coincidentally? Now it's covidentally. Covidentally, everybody's gone digital in the way they exchange value, right? So the cost of doing business, right, in terms of trading or transacting over that medium is actually first and foremost value to the consumer, right?
Yeah.
So if you and me, we don't have to typically go to a branch to send money to somebody, or we don't have to go to an ATM to withdraw cash before we trade.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of savings in terms of time, and also an increase in our productivity, if you think about it, right? So in that respect, I think we're saving lives. If you put it, if somebody's at a hospital and they're on a drip or something, and you don't show up with cash, in some hospitals they don't see the patient until you take a membership, or so that digital construct alone, in terms of life savings impact, is huge.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you look at the regulator, they don't have to handle a lot of cash anymore. So by switching to that cashless society, they say that about 15 to 20% of taxpayers' money goes in managing the financial ecosystem. Now, out of that percentage, about 10% of that 15 to 20% goes to managing the logistics of storing the physical cash in safes and your bullion vans, transporting to vaults here and there. So it saves the country quite a bit of cash. And those monies will now go towards empowering people. Those that are financially excluded can now come into the financial ecosystem.
Right. So those are the advantages.
Yes.
Now the disadvantage.
Okay. There are a few more advantages I'd like to mention.
Somebody else has some advantages.
Yeah, Winston.
I know you can buy your watch over the phone. So connection you're watching.
Basically, to the federal government, there would be, if we are able to go cashless, there will be a reduction in payments to print legal tender. People don't know this. It's very expensive. Very expensive.
Very, very.
Yeah, like the Canadian plastic money.
Yeah, and then we don't have money getting damaged as quickly because there's not a lot of cash in the system already. So the recycle period where they have to burn notes is not there. Your Makala woman is no longer holding the money with her oily hand.
Her palm oil hand.
She's just holding her phone with her oily hands. That's her problem, to be honest. But yeah, so to the federal government, that saves them some money. Saves us because it's taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
saves us some money.
Exactly. So I mean, that money can now go towards other cool things, right?
Yeah,
creating value for the community.
Sky trains and all.
Sky trains in it.
Also, another thing. Also, the learning curve for being able to use the cashless system draws a lot more people closer to being able to learn about the internet, because when you finally learn that, I can do this with a cashless system, the willingness to get into this internet system becomes easier. So with a wider penetration of cashless systems, even in this country, you would have more people willing, because I'm like, okay, so I can buy this using mobile money, so it's cashless. What if I can find a vendor online? How do I do that? You call your son, who is somewhere in his room, and say, Kwabna, come and show me how to do this on whichever platform. And I forgot you called. I totally forgot, my bad. Kwesi.
Yeah, I'm also called Kwesi. That's my job. There you go. Sorry. Kwesi, sorry.
Okay. So, whatever the kid's name is there. So it gets more people into, it's like a gateway thing, because the necessity of cashless system, everybody's seeing how effective it is.
Yeah.
The reason why Momo has spread so far and wide in Africa is because it's basically been USSD based, and everybody has a phone now. So it's simple, but the next step, it encourages people to take that next step. And if this is a capability of USSD, what does GSM and the whole internet and everything have available for me? So I feel like that's an advantage. It's, for the lack of a better term, it's a gateway drug.
Yeah, to getting addicted to the internet and everything that it brings. Yeah. My personal advantage, or the reason why I wanted to go cashless, was because of reducing the risk of losing money or getting robbed. Since I have been a victim of losing money or getting robbed a lot of times. So it seemed to me.
So the armed robbers don't ask you for your Momo pin or what?
Wow.
Please don't give them ideas. That would be a very.
The good thing is that Momo transactions have a minimum transaction period, so you may not lose all your money.
Well, they have a limit. So if you have, let's say, 50,000, they can probably just take 5,000. If your limit is at 5,000, they just take 5,000. You still have your 45. Unless you're going to kidnap you.
That I saw that was about to rob somebody, and then he said, "I'll rob you Monday and I'll rob you Tuesday. I'll come back tomorrow."
Yeah, so I guess then they have to do that. They have to come back every single day.
Yeah.
So now I think Michael, do you even use mobile money, Michael?
I was actually about to ask that amongst all of us, what's the longest period you've gone without using cash?
Well. No, it hasn't been a day.
Mine is a long time.
Without using cash?
Yeah, without using cash. So here's the thing. There's a trick for me. If I have cash on hand, I am more likely to spend. And the journey to go to this Momo operator to go and withdraw money is also very stressful for me. I mean, it's a few hundred meters, but it's still a lot of stress to get out of the house to do that. So I don't do that. And I just stay at home, and I basically use Momo to get pretty much everything.
Classic Winston.
Indeed. I think I have managed 2 months, maybe 3.
I think the most I've gone will be about 3 months.
My mouth is gaping like right now because I haven't been able to do a day without having to reach for cash. Yes, and I'm the cashless evangelist. Like one time I would have to go from up to 3 fuel stations to actually get one that would accept either a card or Momo. By which time I had probably
run out of fuel.
By which time you probably
I had
just run out of
situations where
fuel.
I had free Wache because they didn't take cash, they didn't take Momo, and I didn't have cash on me.
After this program, can you give those locations?
Man, that would not be good. I want to support that lady.
Well then, so basically, you guys have managed.
She now has Momo, huh? She now has Momo now.
Well, yeah, this is COVID season. She would need to.
Yeah.
This is just random, but I feel like even Momo from a Wache seller, you create tension in the line because everybody is standing in a queue in the sun, try to buy Wache. You come and buy Wache 3 CDs, meet one, and one.
And you have to go through the whole process.
That brings up a very, very important point. The time for service delivery, if you're using Momo, right? How long should a transaction take, for Momo to complete? Like your Chinese scenario where for QR code transactions that tap and go kind of thing.
Yeah.
NFC.
And if we can go into that realm where there's a QR code overlaid on Momo wallets, all of a sudden the ecosystem will be very, very different, right?
Now,
merchants, just Wache ladies will just have a sticker on their
aprons,
you just tap and go and send me dashing,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they can do that with Express Pay and those other platforms. Well, you can actually
go. But it's too sophisticated, right? I think somebody mentioned that the USSD basically helped a lot in the adoption of mobile money, right?
Yeah.
So how can you achieve this, kind of ubiquitous payment approach when you don't have to have too much sophistication in that process and finish in less than, let's say, 30 seconds?
So what happened for me in very recent times was that I went to to a fuel station once again to buy fuel and then use Momo or any kind of mobile money payment to pay. And they had a POS machine that could request a payment from my number. All I had to do was give them my number. They did a request, and then all I had to do was enter my PIN. Now, Winston is laughing because he knows where the story is going. I did make the payment. I was deducted, but on their end, it said the transaction had been declined. Now, which segues into the disadvantages of cashless systems, because this thing is like ether. They don't understand it and they don't see it. So something happens like that, people think, oh, the payment didn't work, or this guy could probably be a hacker who just fooled us or something. So my payment...
The worst one is to send the money to the wrong phone number.
In which case, I give them my number. So once they initiated it, it was legit. But then I have been charged, but they haven't been paid. And
so how do you then reconcile?
Exactly.
Like, how do you fix that?
I lost about 45 minutes waiting.
Wow.
Did you get your money back?
No, and I didn't pay. I didn't pay a second time. They were asking me to pay a second time, but I said I wasn't going to pay because I had proof that I had paid. And I called my network provider, and then they said, yes, we had deducted. And so I didn't. But then they still kept calling me. They called me about 24 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So
like
those
I
are
said,
some of the
it shouldn't be a
advantages.
problem.
But how do we
That's
get
a
past
big,
it?
big challenge, though.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's go back to the traditional financial system, right?
Yeah.
You go to the ATM, you swipe your card, and it eats your card. Okay, that's the first one. Or you do the transaction, you don't get your money, it gets deducted.
Mm-hmm.
At least you have a contact center to call, right? There's somebody in the middle that you can call. There's a man in the middle somewhere, right? You can call that person. So and so happened. They can track it, right?
Yes.
And that level of dispute resolution, case management, customer care has not quite evolved in the mobile money environment, right? Because typically what's happening, the merchant is trying to resolve for you, and the merchant doesn't have the depth of knowledge and the mechanical workings of mobile money to explain to you, has the money settled? Has it been taken out of my account? And the refund process it's not instant, right? Mm-hmm. And also there's an element of social integrity where the person has to be honest and say, you know what, yep, the money is in my account. Even if it goes to the wrong person, that they can refund it for you. If you see a mobile money transaction right now, would you call the person who sent it to you and say, did you just send me money?
Nah. You have blessed me.
Hallelujah, right? So I think we're not there yet when it comes to the resolution of errors or issues or incidents on the mobile money platform or our digital money platforms. And I think that's where you need a central bank or the NCA or the regulatory body covering both the financial services and the telecoms and harmonize and create a middle ground of sorts. Say, okay, if a transaction happened, basically creating that whole traceability for that ecosystem. Because what's happening, there is a category of people out there that doesn't trust the mobile money community or the platform.
Yeah.
Right. So for them, they feel like, okay, I've heard of a lot of social challenges. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of social engineering that leads to fraud. So why should I trust? They will do low value transactions, which is why there are limits how many transactions you could do per day. To try and curb some of these occurrences. But it's still early days for us. If you begin to measure our adoption, I think we're probably at level 1 in going cashless, right? Because almost every corner store demands you to pay them with cash.
Right.
The moment you mention mobile money, they think you're being fancy. Hey, why are you being fancy?
All right, guys. So just hold on a bit. We're gonna go for a commercial break, but I've got some messages. Let me read that, and then when we're done, we'll go. So Edmonton from Canada says Canada is more or less a cashless country now, and he enjoys it. More than 3 months now without cash on me, and I love it. That's Yogi from Edmonton, Canada. So if you want to send us a message, join the conversation, It's 0244-340-437, 0244-340-437. Send us a WhatsApp message or a Telegram message. Tell us about how long you've been able to go without cash and which you prefer. Would you like to have cash in your pocket to show people that, hey, I'm the cash man or woman, or would you like to have cash in your wallet on your smartphone? Anyways, Geek Squad is brought to you by the Home Used Cars app, Hooker app. Discover the state of your car before it's imported. Hooker app, we let you know if it's accident free. It's also brought to you by Mobile Money Interoperability, which is powered by Gibbs. Be our hero, be safe, stay home. Across Aye Safer. And then COVID Connect, a digital service that connects to the medical team at University of Ghana Medical Center. Access COVID Connect by downloading the Luxy app from the Play Store or iOS App Store. So, joy learning. You know, in COVID times, like Sam says, confidentally, we've all had to stay home. Schools have been closed. So, dear parents or guardians, joy learning is intensifying teaching lessons in these times as the reported COVID-19 cases in Ghana have compelled schools to close down. Kindly tune your television channel to Joy Learning and access our classroom lessons and other educational programs. We can assure you that with Joy Learning, your children will not be left behind in classroom teachings while in the house. Do not allow COVID-19 to prevent your child from learning. Joy Learning has you covered. With Joy Learning, education is secured, convenient, and easily accessible anywhere, anytime in the comfort of your home. Get a multi-TV digibox for your kids now. Joy Learning, keep learning. And we wish to apologize to our cherished audiences in the UK for their inability to access us through the TuneIn app as usual. So all those who are trying to listen to Geek Squad right now through TuneIn that you can't, we're sorry. But we are available on myjoyonline.com and adomonline.com. You can also access our streams on Facebook. Like now, go to Facebook, Joy997, and then watch the stream there. Or you can, on your Android device, go to your Google Play Store. On your Apple device, go to your App Store and look for the My Joy Online app and the Adom Online app. We will be right back after these messages.
Mate, see, collect my phone and tell the person say it fell in your car. I need to send this person mobile money, but we are not on the same network, and they also won't understand.
You can now send and receive mobile money on all networks across a year easy.
Hey, sir, I didn't know.
From your network to other networks, you can now send and receive mobile money directly across IA Easy. This service is powered by Gibbs.
Hello. This is UGMC COVID Connect.
I'm Dr. Wilfred Asma.
I understand you have a runny nose. It doesn't necessarily mean you have COVID-19, and that is why I need you to calm down so that we do the best we can to help you.
COVID Connect, a digital service, connects you to the medical team at the University of Ghana Medical Center for quality medical support, expert psychological counseling, testing, and in-hospital management.
Access COVID Connect by downloading Lucy Vitals on Play Store or iOS.
COVID Connect is brought to you by the UGMC, the Ministry of Health, and supported by the Farm Access Foundation.
And we're back. So COVID Connect, are you worried you may be having COVID-19 symptoms? Do not panic and don't Google things on the internet when you feel unwell. Download the Lucy app to access COVID Connect. COVID Connect is not just an app, it is a service. COVID Connect is a virtual consulting room which allows users of the app to fill in their COVID-19 symptoms, and if your symptoms are rated mild to high risk, you would receive a call from the medical team at the University of Ghana Medical Center, and they will care for you based on the treatment guidelines prescribed by the WHO at the comfort of your home. And an ambulance will be dispatched to pick those who may require in-hospital treatment and testing for COVID-19. Download the Lucy app right now and connect to the service. Lucy is spelled Luccii. COVID Connect. Connect for Health. COVID Connect is brought to you by the UGMC, Ministry of Health, and supported by the Farm Access Foundation. So, we've been having a conversation about going cashless. If you've been following the conversation, it's, with the advent of COVID-19, cash has been touted as one of the ways that the disease could be spread. So in order for people not to spread the disease, we're reducing the amount of cash that we carry around or we use to prevent ourselves from getting infected. Now, if you're listening to us and you'd like to join in the conversation, send a message to 0244 340 437. 0244 340 437. Send us a WhatsApp message or a Telegram message. Or you can join us on Telegram at t.me/JoyGeekSquad. Hi, Michael. Hi, Winston.
Hi.
Yes, so
what up?
We were talking before we had to go and take some commercial messages.
Yeah.
And we got to the disadvantages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one of the disadvantages that, like we talked about earlier, the main issue with, for me, about this whole mobile money thing is that I am not extremely aware if there are any laws or conventions, like if all the telcos and the government have come together to structure a certain series of what if situations and what should happen if those situations happen. Like we talked about, there's a lot of fraud going on, and even if someone honestly made a mistake and sent you money, if you have fallen prey to this kind of tactic before, you are not inclined to be trusting and be willing
to send
back their money.
Yeah.
So does the telco freeze the person's account? How quickly are they going to do that? How long will it take for me to prove all of this and to get the telco to do said lockup? And does that there's a lot going on, because in a bank system, what happens when you send money, or in my experience, what I've heard about these things, when you send money, put money into the wrong account, they contact the account and they try and get permission to for the person to withdraw the money and put it in like the right account and everything. The manager talks to the person and everything, but then if the person is being heavy-handed or unwilling to do so, they freeze the person's account. So it's a step-by-step process to get this done. It's still largely dependent on the person's willingness to do it. That is why you are always advised to be careful the number, the account number you're putting in and everything. But they also go through certain checks, I believe, where your name has to correspond with the account number and everything. But on the Momo, some people are using mobile money numbers that are not registered to them, or there is a totally different registration and they are just using it. How do you trace such a person? How do you find such a person in case?
Hello?
Yeah, Sam.
The freezing. All right.
Yeah, so Winston was just making his point about how people, what we're talking about returning monies that are wrongfully sent to you. And you know how the banks could do reverse transaction and all that, but do we have such a system in mobile money?
Yeah. The other thing is that is the telco allowed to forcefully take this? I say forcefully with air quotes. You guys can't see it, but air quotes.
Air quoting.
Is there any law that allows a telco to, if they realize that this transaction was wrongly made, can they forcefully deduct that money and give it back to the owner? Is it allowed? Is it something that we should know that is possible? Are there laws surrounding this? And for a system that's about 10 years old minimum, I feel like we are very lacking, or we are not very. There's not a lot of public awareness of the rules of engagement. What we are.
I think there are resources available in solving the whole dispute, reconciliation and all of that. But the process is not easy for just an average vendor who doesn't speak very good English, somebody who's not that sophisticated to be speaking with an agent, right? And typically, mobile money has two routes, right? You go through your broker. It could be an ExpressPay or Uptel or any of the brokers out there who have created value on top of the financial platform, right?
Yeah.
Those you can call their contact center and they can help you. But the average guy who's doing directly from their star blah 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 170 star something else. I mean, the guy speaks to you, you know, if you want so and so press this, press 3, you know. How did they explain the process? I mean, this kind of share, I didn't get it back. I checked the door, you know, my man, 50 city, I got 50%. You know, like it could be very confusing, right? So that's what gives the confidence for more use of such a platform. You know, so I think we have room to improve, and I think that I'm sure there's work being done to bring some fixes to that domain, and also the whole social engineering and the fraud that's happening there, right?
So, I mean, we still had so many things to talk about like how our culture influences how people use these digital services and all that. But unfortunately, we're running out of time. So I think next week we're going to continue this conversation. What do you guys think?
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah, because
confidentially we have to do that.
Yes, confidentially we will do that, and I will try to get some telco people who can give us some in their house information from their end about how they're doing things and how they're accelerating the adoption of a cashless system. No?
And hopefully they will give us some information about how to deal with the entire situation if you sent money to the wrong person. Because I feel like that part of it is not publicized as much. But I feel like it's something that genuinely happens.
Right. Cool. So I just got a message. I just tuned in. I want to know exactly what you guys are discussing in studio. Oh, Pete from McCarthy Hill. So sorry that you just tuned in, but we're talking about going cashless, digital money, and all the likes. If you missed most of the conversation, you can find it on our Facebook stream. Just go to Facebook, Joy 997 FM, and you see the Joy Geek Squad stream. Or you can listen to the podcast after the show on Google Podcast or Apple Podcast, whichever device you're using. So, guys, final words. Michael, Sam, Winston. Michael, you haven't spoken much. That's why I mentioned your name first.
Wow. I'm on it. Anyway, I'm very excited about the prospect of going cashless. I've been for a while.
Yeah.
I can't really say much, but my company is involved primarily in, half of the company I'm involved in is mobile money transactions, especially cashless transactions. So us finally transitioning, I mean, it's not going the way anyone predicted initially. Everyone thought we go through the traditional way. Everyone gets bank accounts, then they get cards, then it continues from there. We're not going down that route. But the future is still bright because not having to carry and use fiat cash on you opens yourself up to all sorts of possibilities and improvements in society and even you personally. I have managed 3 months without having to touch cash at all for everything I've had to do. And it's been massively convenient. But what it is not now good for getting me in and out of places because of security locks. Right, that?
Okay. Sam.
So final words from me is that listen, it's the value here is productivity. It's good to be productive. It's good to be efficient in what we do, and every other part of our lives are being disrupted. You know, if you look at the Uber experience, right? You can quickly do something on your phone, and a taxi or a car shows up at your house. It's happening in the financial services, and that one will require a very serious attention, which I think the regulators is doing an amazing job. You guys should be pleased to know that Ghana's mobile money ecosystem is the fastest growing, actually, right?
Wow.
So from the Office of the Vice President, obviously, from the Ministry of Finance, from the BOG, they're all working really, really hard to make sure digital cash-like society is attained, right? I think there's digital currency, central bank digital currencies are also on the rise in other countries. So literally, once we have a very, very mature monetary environment, financial ecosystem will definitely thrive, and Ghana is on the rise. So I think we're on the rise. We're the next phase of disruption, which will affect every aspect of trade, every aspect of things that we deal with. So I think Ghana is doing quite all right. Let's all get onto the bandwagon and do some good stuff for the country. So excellent show. Thank you guys for having me on board.
Thank you for joining us, and next week we'll have you again, hopefully. So, Winston, your turn.
Okay, so my final words are, the rate at which Ghana is, like you just said, that our rate of adoption of mobile money is the fastest. And that is very true. We've seen the convenience in it and all that. And I'm just looking forward to a future where I can actually use the NFC capability of my phone.
Winston, let me stop you right there. I think someone just sent a message that answers your question. He says, guys, I wrongfully sent money from my Momo to another person's Vodafone Cash account and realized after 7 days, all I did was lodge a complaint at MTN, and after a week, the money was refunded to my account. That's from Kweku Adebri. So, yep, lodge a complaint.
So they can forcefully take it back?
Yeah, not forcefully. They will definitely not forcefully. Provided you can prove, beyond all reasonable doubt that this actually happened, yes. So, you can continue in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm just looking forward to a future where I just put my phone, I can actually use my
NFC, Samsung Pay, Apple
which I'm
Pay.
paying for. Yeah, and that would be fantastic. And the fact that you can get a lot of discounts and stuff when you're using these wireless, that's another advantage of wireless payments. Easy to give people discounts and track who is being a loyal customer and all of that information. And what I am interested in, the conversation I'm interested in having concerning all this cashless thing is the QR code that Ghana was supposed to have.
And I think we'll talk about that next week. So
I'm just laying it down here right now. Why do they have to put the QR codes on the top of the canned drink? I don't get it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are you talking about
the from standards,
right?
Yeah, that's from the standards board, no?
Yeah.
So that's a completely different. It's not a QR code, right? It's what they call tax stamps. So when you're in the manufacturing world, you have to account and make sure that you procure those tax stamps from the GRA and make sure those are paid for in advance, so that any canned drink you manufacture on your assemble line is paid for, right? So that's a complete. Other countries don't do that, right? Because there's more trust in the ecosystem. Yeah. So that's an area we have to improve. It's something that is coming hopefully in the next few years. African countries will now improve the taxation of locally manufactured drinks and bottled drinks and all of that. Imagine putting that on your pure water, right?
Okay, guys.
On top of the can.
Yes, Winston, thank you very much. We're out of time. And I just have to say thank you to all those listening. If we're in Amachumwa, Heneamwa, Oboy GH, our Telegram group, thank you guys. Thank you to Abeku Selwyn, Dennis the Fairboy, and my executive producer, Inshirado, and the digital media and creative media department of the multimedia group. You guys, I told you I'll give you shout outs. I'll see you guys next week on the next one. Ciao.
Ciao, thank you.